What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here, and today is super special, not just like every other day, because we're going to take some pentatonic scale madness that you already know and maybe are confused about or know and love, and combine them with a couple chords in different ways that maybe we haven't seen before. So a really cool way to kind of start applying what to now has been a boring scale into your playing in a very practical way. So make sure you click the link below, because I'm going to tab out what we do here, and it's easier to follow along. So let's get right to it. We're going to start with the E minor pentatonic scale, okay? So basically this kind of goes over an E minor chord. E minor chord looks like this: open E, 2A, 2D, then open all the way down. One of the easiest chords you can ever play on a guitar, acoustic or electric, okay? Now, an E minor chord pairs well with an E minor pentatonic scale. A scale is just a group of notes that sound good together, specifically sounding good over this one chord. Now, you may have seen this position before. Open 3, open 2, open 2. So we have 5 notes, and then the first note again. So we have an E, a G, an A, a B, a D, and then another E. So open E and 2D are the same note, 2 different locations, an octave higher, okay? So we're going to try to apply some of these notes to how we play this E minor chord, but I want to do it in a little bit different way that's going to allow us to incorporate some more techniques that make guitar such a really cool instrument, okay? So instead of doing it all across the strings in one position, I want to play these notes, E, G, A, B, D, and E again, starting off on one string down. So E, G, A, B, D, E, okay? So instead of going, we're gonna go same notes, but a slightly different approach to how we're gonna play them. So on the open E string, the low E string, open 3, 5, 7. And I want you to try to do it with this fingering, okay? So open 3 with your pointer finger, 5 with your ring finger. Even if you can't reach without moving your hand, just go open 3, 5, like that. Slide into 7. Okay, with that same ring finger. So open 3, 5, 7. And before you go on, make sure you can do this really fluidly and easily, seamlessly. Just like that. It might take a while for you. It might start out like this, kind of searching and then searching again. But eventually, if you really just drill this, it sounds cool because we add this little bit of a slide, and that's something that we don't get if we go up here, okay? So that's why, even though they're the same notes, it's a little bit different of an approach that maybe you like the sound of, maybe you think it's a little more fun to play, or maybe you don't. You know, if you want to stick up here, that is totally fine. It's just always good to be able to do different things in different ways in the guitar world and really just generally in life. Versatility, my people. So, open 3, 5, 7. Now, the reason we're using our ring finger, other than just getting that slide in, is because it lines our pointer finger up with the 5th fret on the A string, which is a D note, which is that next note in the pentatonic scale. And then your ring finger is free again to hit the 7th fret on the A string, which is an E, which is that octave E. Low E, the next pitch up E. All right? So, instead of, we have, okay? Now, one of the other techniques this unlocks is a backward slide, which creates a lot of movement and a lot of kind of a cool sound in your playing. Because remember, we're taking this E minor, we're adding these notes to it, okay? So if we play an E chord, and then we go back to that E minor chord from this E note, 7th fret on the A string, we can slide back into it. Okay, so I think that's kind of a cool sound to maybe be like, something like that, okay? The nice thing about sliding backwards is the chord is rooted on the open E string. So while we're sliding, we can hit that E note to kind of lead us back into the chord where we started. So this kind of technique in doing it kind of brings a little bit of a glue to kind of glue the playing together instead of maybe, and then kind of have a little choppiness, right? We're getting rid of some of that choppiness to make more of a fluid sound, all right? Okay, so I just kind of was altering what we just did in really just kind of simple ways, just off the top of my head. Anytime you want to reverse directions in this pattern, anytime you want to stop short, instead of going one note at a time every time, you can maybe go. I'm really just going back and forth, and I think that tracking at least a good part of a scale, whether it be the pentatonic scale, major scale, minor scale, double harmonic minor scale, whatever you want to do, doing it on one string is actually really valuable because it kind of brings out a little bit more of the primal riffing that makes guitar so cool with some of these hammer-ons and pull-offs and backslides that we can start incorporating in your playing, all right? Now the great thing about this pentatonic scale is we can use the open strings to really kind of ground us, to root us where we're going, which also happens to be something that you can do with an A minor chord too, in the same key. So let's move everything we did down a string. So instead of an E string, open 3, 5, slide to 7, A string 5, 7, do the exact same thing, starting on an A, 3, 5, 7, D string 5, 7. That would be the same as playing the A minor pentatonic scale, which maybe you've seen it here in open position, or maybe you've seen it here like this. Just different ways to play the exact same thing. Again, versatility is what we're shooting for. All of this can go over an A minor chord. Open A, 2D, 2G, 1B, open E. Remember I said that it would go well with the E minor one. So you can always go back and forth. That is the beauty of the pentatonic scale, is you can actually use the same shape, the same fingerings on different root notes within the same key, all right? So just switching back and forth between E minor and A minor is gonna sound really good. You can even take some of the notes from E minor pentatonic and play it over an A minor chord and vice versa. So if we wanted to play that A minor chord, we don't have to start on an A, C, D, E, G, A. We can actually go to the E strings notes, right? So E minor, A, E 3, 5, 7, 5, 7. You can combine them, just like that, right? Once you start to see that this sequence pairs well with this sequence, it'll really kind of unlock your playing in a way that looks like, okay, maybe I see what's possible over and behind these two chords. And that's just the beginning. Any of this stuff is repeatable as far as if you want to move it around. Like, let's take something in a totally different key. Let's take G minor. Okay? So, a G minor bar chord would be the same thing, E minor moved up a few frets. And again, I'll tab this out too, just a G minor. And then remember, we started on an open string, went 3 frets higher, 2 frets higher, 2 frets higher. Everything is gonna apply, but now we're gonna start on the 3rd fret of the E string. 3 frets higher, 2 frets higher, 2 frets higher, down string back 2 frets, 2 frets higher, okay? So it'd be 3, 3, 6, 8, 10, down a string, 8, 10. And then you'll know that you can just go down another string. So just like you did E minor to A minor in this key, right? In this key of G minor or B flat major, however you want to look at it. You can go down to the 3rd fret on the A string. And you know that all the same spots are gonna apply to that too. So again, maybe you don't even want to get too far ahead of it, but I really would recommend thinking about E minor and A minor and how this one pretty easy kind of sequence of notes will work over either of those two chords. Be able to reverse direction, open E, open 3, 5, 7, 5, 7, back. To me, that sounds a little bit more musical than open E. Even though it's the same notes, And again, you might disagree with that. Maybe you like the open position better. That's totally fine. By no means am I right 100% of the time. It's usually like 99.999 repeating percent of the time. But, you know, it has happened in the past. I'm wrong about things. But yeah, really, just start incorporating some of these slides, even if you want to kind of get one finger just involved. Again, like I said, I personally kind of like this because you can hit those first, you can really kind of double hammer on and slide into both of them. But I've seen a lot of great players kind of just track with one finger because it kind of has a little bit of a choppiness that maybe you want to add. So I just think seeing this scale in a different way, incorporating it musically with your chords is a great way to kind of just, you know, practice some of the different techniques that you're working in conjunction with maybe some of that scale work that sometimes can get kind of monotonous, just kind of riffing through in the same way over and over again. So practice those up and down. Start extending your chords, maybe jumping into the end of that scale, right? So if we think of 7, 5 on the A string and then backwards, maybe that's something you can do here. A lot of different ways you can practice it. Always hit us up in the comments if there's other stuff you want to see. And make sure to click around me. There's other great videos from other great instructors, myself included, teaching all different sorts of genres, songs, techniques. We got you covered on the Guitar Control channel, and definitely always looking for your feedback. So let us know what you want to see more of and what you like, what you didn't like, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.